In this chapter, we're going to talk about for loops. The for loop is another way to iterate over a set of statements in Python. And the for loop has some advantages over the while loop when we're working with data structures, including even files. And we'll be demonstrating some of those advantages over the course of the chapter. Right now, in this lesson, I just want to introduce the main idea of a for loop and show you a simple example. First, though, we're going to look at the general form of the for loop. So let me open up a blank notepad. The way for loop is we provide a target variable, usually, in some collection of data. And then inside that, we have a set of statements that we perform. For example, I'll show you this in Notepad before I introduce it in Python. We might say for I in 1, 2, 3, print I would display all of the numbers 1, 2, 3 in the list, where what happens is something called an iterator, an internal pointer, works its way through the list, taking each item out of the list and placing it in the target or the variable. A lot of times that's called the loop control variable. So I gets the value 1, then I gets the value 2, and then I gets the value 3. Because this is fairly easy to understand, let's go ahead and look at it in Python itself. So we're going to call this program forintro1.py. And we'll just go ahead and create a simple loop, simple for loop. We'll stop at 5 to make it easy. And then we'll just say print I. So let's exit and save. So here we have the result with the code, and you see how simple it is to write a for loop. Let's look at another example. Let's bring this back up. Let's comment out this first example. We could name our list and say numbers equals, then I'll just copy and paste this in, like so, and then say for X in numbers, print X. So essentially the same program. Let's save it. I'm going to bring it back up in a moment. Let's clear the screen, run the example, and there we see the very same thing. Let's look at one more example using the same code. Let's say we want to compute the sum of the numbers in our list. All we have to do here is add a summing variable, take out our print statement, sum is equal to sum plus X, then come right down here and say print X. Let's exit this one this time. Then when we run our code, oh, I see what I did wrong. Let's fix that. Much better. X is the last value, but we don't want the last value. We wanted the sum. Let's clear the screen, run it again, and there we get 15. A for loop is used to pull values out of a data structure so that we can perform some task on the items that are in the data structure. Most often, when we use a for loop, we're doing so that we could retrieve all of the values. So we're trying to get all the values out of numbers. Because notice we don't have any limiting statement here. We just say for X in numbers, which is saying pull out each value of numbers successively, stored in X, then perform something with that value, and then continue on until there are no more elements left in the collection or data structure. That's all for this first lesson's introduction to for loops. We're going to continue our simple introduction in the next lesson before we move on to see more specific ways of using for loops with different types of data structures.